We are live. Hello.
Hello.
So you received the police report, and I'm sure it was not the yummiest thing you've ever read.
Well, Sue, I wanted to talk about this because this is kind of a unique experience that maybe many people don't have. Is that that there's a police report connected to my life, and I guess many people don't have a double homicide experience in their life either. So here we are. Um, I had a conversation with the lead detective. I don't recall, a couple of weeks ago, and he told me how to get the police report. That it was finally finished because it had to go through the county. I don't recall. It had to be approved and determined whether the man who shot my son was in self-defense or whether he was going to go to trial, obviously. And
Right. Yeah.
so they were very meticulous in their report. I hesitated for a long time thinking about reading the report, and especially because he told me that there were pictures and body cam, the footage of the videos, and like I didn't even, Sue, I didn't even want to be in possession of those because I didn't want to, in a crazy moment, open up those pictures. But as it turns out, you could just order the written police report and not even order the pictures and the videos. So that was very good. And it's a very interesting experience watching yourself go through this. Like, what are you going to do about that, Delores? And Alejandra is the only one that is given permission to have the full police report that is not redacted, and just because she's the victim's representative. And but as far as I could tell, they only deleted the names and addresses. It didn't look like anything else was taken out of that police report. And I guess that I just wanted to talk about this today because those of us who are in this situation, we have a real decision to make. Because that police report is there. Are you going to look at it? Are you not going to look at it? If you do look at it, are you going to look at the pictures? Like, what are you going to do about it? And so I wanted to come forward and just share my experience.
And it's relevant for people in lots of situations. I mean, there doesn't have to have been a homicide. There could have been any kind of crime being committed for there to be a police report involved. So wonderful that you want to talk about this humble and brave and transparent, which you've been throughout this series. And wonderful that the police department gave you options so that it was possible to get just the text and not have to look at the pictures, not have to watch any of the video.
Yeah.
I hope that many police departments handle it that way. I'm sure every police department is different. But really,
we have been very blessed with the detectives and officers that handled this whole entire situation, because I mean, really, honestly, it could have been an awful experience for us, for Alejandra and I, even though we're kind of innocent bystanders. We weren't really involved with it, but I mean, police are human and they can mistreat anybody involved in this situation. And I talked to Alejandra about it, and because she actually needs to order the police report for one of the accounts of Hector's to be settled. And I know that it's her choice, but like I made her give me a pinky promise that she was not going to look at the pictures and that she was not going to. And that's why I kind of wanted to order it first, is so that I could see how it was set up. And I told her, I said, you don't even have to order the pictures. You can just order the police report. But she has her free choice. But I'm like, it's a horrifying thought for any of us to see those pictures. Like the images that are created automatically in your head are bad enough, but to actually see the pictures of it, well, I know that, like, I don't want to.
Right. Very hard to unsee those sorts of things. So
Yes.
Really great. You don't have to look at it.
Yeah.
At all.
And that nobody can find it on my computer or anything. And so she seemed relieved to know that it wouldn't come all in a bundle, that she could just get the text and then send that to that company, that life insurance company that needs it. So
thank you to the police department for being very sensitive to emotional well-being of, let's call it, victims of crime, or people who need to interact with police reports.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beautiful. And let's thank you for being very sensitive to how you are and who you are, and knowing not to engage with the pictures and videos, and encouraging Alejandra, your daughter, not to do the same.
Yeah.
So did you find anything in the police report that was surprising?
I had previously talked to Alejandra about it and why I wanted to read it, and that was really that was kind of a good conscious activity for me, in like, really, Delores, why do you want to read it? And I don't know what it was, curiosity. The thing that I knew least about was Miguel's interaction with the neighbors. And as I've shared before, I've had 2 in-person interactions with the neighbors. So those of you who don't know what happened is that Miguel broke into the neighbor's house after he fatally stabbed Hector, and he still had the knife and everything, and they shot him and killed him out of self-defense because he had broken into their house. And so we have had personal exchanges with them, very loving, very compassionate, full of grace on both of our parts. And honestly, the question that I wanted answered was, what was Miguel's frame of mind? How was he? And a police report is not going to give me that. A police report is going to be, he broke in this door and he did this, and he said this, but there's no interpretation of it. So I admit,
what was it, Adam 12, where they said just the facts, ma'am?
Exactly.
Or was that old TV shows? Yes.
Yeah. So I did learn some things about, that I had never heard about, that the neighbor fired at him 14 times and hit him 5 times. Yeah. So I'm like, but, so that was it was interesting. I don't know if that's being morbid. Is that being morbid? But I didn't know that. I knew that from the autopsy, I knew that he had been hit 5 times, that he had been shot 5 times. But like, I know nothing about guns, Sue. And so I don't remember who was explaining this to me. Oh, it was Gordon, my friend who I live with. He said, yeah, if it was a small handgun, it wasn't going to kill him. He's going to have to be shot multiple times. And then there's just so much adrenaline going. And I don't know. So when I finished reading that interview with the neighbors, like I was there, and kind of like it was a movie, or maybe reading a book where you visualize it. And how I experienced that was like so much sorrow that those people had to experience that. Yeah. And, of course, still, it's the unanswerable question of, why at ground level, what put Miguel in that frame of mind to do that? And so that's the unanswerable question. I'll admit I was still searching for that. But I think it's a good point, Sue, that what are we looking for? And I'm looking for peace. That's what I'm looking for. And the peace does not come in reading the report. I don't even think the peace would come from talking to the neighbor again, which I had considered doing. So let's talk about that, shall we? Because I think that's why I read the report, is because, will that give me more peace? So where do we get peace? Well, what is peace? And what is its source?
Great question. And the angels do want to remind you that one of the reasons you read the report was out of love for your daughter, knowing that she would need to get the report. So wanting to pre-screen it and see if there was anything that you needed to do to be loving and supportive for her before she read it. So that was very loving and very in service. And the angels want to say specifically to people watching this that might not be the right move for you in your unique circumstance. That was what Delores felt guided to do, tuning into her angel guidance. So they just wanted to say that there's no right or wrong way to do this. There's the way that you were guided and inspired to do it. So first, that. Second, peace. What is peace? So peace might feel a little different to everybody. Peace would be the absence of turbulence in a very sort of general way, right? The absence of confusion, discomfort, fear, anxiety, worry. Would that feel accurate to you?
Yes. Yeah. And the word also that came to my mind is acceptance. Is, okay, here we are. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, right? So much of us have been programmed to resist reality. So whatever is presenting in front of us, and especially something really traumatic like this, right? Like my son fatally wounded my ex-husband and then broke into the neighbor's house and told them, you're going to have to shoot me. And they shot and killed him. Yeah. That's very traumatic. And that's the kind of reality that we don't want to accept. Like, that must be wrong. So one reason people might read the police report is to see, like, what did they miss? That can't possibly be how it went down.
Yeah.
the reason resisting reality causes so much pain and suffering and is the opposite of peace in a lot of ways, or certainly the opposite of acceptance, is we're pushing against something that we can't change, right? So it's futile. Resistance is futile, as the Borg would say, for you Star Trek geeks. And what you resist persists. And the reason we hear that so much in the personal transformation circles, what you resist persists, is because you're flowing your energy in a direction that does not serve you. You're flowing your valuable energy and time and attention towards something that you do not want. Not that, not that, not that, which is giving your power there. The minute you can be with what is, so be in acceptance, stop resistance and be in acceptance, you reclaim all that power. You're no longer spewing your power or dissipating your power. You are still in possession of your power. And the angels want to really, really remind people that it's not about approving of what's happened. It's not about liking it. It's not about saying, oh, I totally would choose that. It's much softer. It's to use the common saying, it is what it is. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do about that. This is what is. And when we can be with that and simultaneously hold the what else is possible, we open up to infinite possibilities. So it's the opposite of that resistance that drains our power. We stand in a place of openness to infinite possibilities in all of our power, all of the divinely perfect guidance that can be coming into us in that moment. So that's the beauty of peace. Peace and acceptance are very similar vibrationally. They are okay, not, oh, that's totally okay, but okay, now what? Okay, and so it's the and. It opens the space for what else is possible. So let me pause there and see what questions are arising in you.
The only other thing that I am feeling is when we are not in that peace and acceptance, we are stuck. And so what we resist persists, and that's the feeling of stuckness to me. And so all of these things that you're describing is very resonant with me, is that when Alejandra and I'm just going to put her in this because, she and I experienced a very different pathway than many of the other people that we watched. And again, I'm just interpreting them, but I was watching and hearing what they're saying. And Alejandra and I are like, we're like kind of floating above it. We're like, okay, now what? What is next? Like, okay, here we are. And we really were able to bond on that, if that, I don't know if that's the right descriptor. The other word that's coming to me is presence, is being present with where we are, like what is. And so how would you integrate the principle of being present with the peacefulness?
Great question. You always ask the best questions. So presence is being completely here. So not being in the past and not being in the future, not being in, rehashing the drama and trauma, or feeling triggered, because trauma triggers are always about what happened in the past, and not being worried, anxious, fretting, concerned about the future. So I can be completely in the present. When I am completely in the present, I have access to all of my power and all of my divine guidance. So it is the most powerful place I can be. When I'm resisting something, I'm not fully present. So resistance is tied to past and future simultaneously, right? It was like this, and I do not ever want it to be like this again. Make it stop. So it pulls us out of the present moment in both directions.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very disempowering. Presence, when we're able to be with what is in acceptance, it's a very profound experience of presence. And it's an openness to life. So resistance is a guardedness or even an aggressiveness, a defensiveness toward life. And that presence in acceptance is an openness to life and infinite possibilities. When we're in resistance, we typically narrow the possibilities down to one or two or maybe three things, as opposed to the infinite possibilities that actually exist in any moment. So that's another reason that resistance is so disempowering. It's very hard for the divine to bring you other choices other than the ones that you're allowing.
Yeah. So I'm gonna throw this at you. I kind of feel like I know the answer, but yeah, here it comes. Given that being present and being in acceptance is the most empowering state, does that mean that I shouldn't remember, Miguel? Does it mean that I shouldn't want to know what happened? Like, does that negate any benefit of memories or even of looking forward to the future? So maybe the question is, can I be present while I think about the past? And can I be present while I think about the future? Like, what do you think?
So this is really great. You, as always, you ask the most fascinating, awesome questions to go deeper and broader. So I think you and I have done this work, and I have done this work with many clients, where the angels actually offload people's memories up into what I like to call the angel cloud. So, you're no longer storing things on your computer or on your phone or whatever. They're up in the cloud. So the angels take people's memories out of their physical space and store them in the angel cloud, and then pop them back into our awareness when they're in service. So it's not that memories are bad and wrong and we should not remember anything ever, because can you imagine trying to function in reality if you didn't remember how to drive a car or how to cook food, or like, clearly part of the physical experience is about learning things and remembering things and practicing things. And many memories have a really profound emotional charge on them. And those memories can be traumatizing and triggering, and we can torture ourselves with them. So along this journey, I know we've pulled some memories related to Miguel out of your space, and we've changed your relationship with memories about Miguel. So there were a lot of memories. I know we've talked about this in a couple of the other episodes. There were a lot of memories that you were beating yourself up with. I should have done that differently. Oh, that was a moment that, man, I really screwed that up. Those are the kind of memories that really don't serve us. And they are density. They are physical density in our space. We talk about things being emotional baggage, and we use the word baggage because baggage is heavy and physical density is heavy. So a lot of the emotions that people are challenged by, that drag them out of presence in the moment, and deplete their energy and their power in that moment, are the ones that have those profound emotional charges. Now, you could say that emotional charges are wrong altogether. But there are memories that have profound emotional charges that energize us and that uplift us. And men more than women are hardwired to conjure those memories, because men more than women on this planet were the hunters, not the gatherers. So memories are slightly different in men's and women's physicality, quite literally. So men will conjure memories of a big success in the past to, get everybody amped up before the big game, or, before the big sales meeting, or before going in to close an important deal. So they'll use memory in a very empowering way to get into the energy, space, and consciousness with which they would like to do what comes next. And we always have that option, right? We can, so when you tune into a memory of, you know, sweet little Miguel and how amazing and magical he was as a boy, how does that feel like it's in service to you?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, we had talked about doing desensitizing some of the memories that I have from his childhood, and just doing it with not, as we had said on Monday, not doing it with punishment and guilt, but with compassion and a desire to let go of that density, and so that I can have then I can experience the beauty of the memories instead of the guilt of the memories or the heaviness of the memories. And it for me, it is a very interesting thing because like even before, like maybe I'm going to say a month before the event happened in July, was like one of the first times that I could look through the pictures from my kids' childhood and not be crushed with guilt. And that I could actually see two little cute kids. Like, dang, my kids were adorable. And I didn't experience that at the time, but I could then experience it afterward. And so, and that was like maybe in May or June of this year that I could finally look at those pictures and it not be a load of guilt on me and self-hatred. I could finally see the joy of my beautiful little children. And Alejandra has corrected me a few times. Like, and I mean, she's just very straight with me, is that I was apologizing to her so pathetically one time about this or that of her childhood. And she corrected me. She's like, that's not how I experienced it, Mom. This is what I had. And I was like, okay, very good. Like, she totally corrected me on that. And so I just don't, I don't know. I just want to share hope with moms that are in this kind of situation, or even moms with children who they feel challenged by, or they're not quite sure what to do for the benefit of that child, and that we can learn from retrospect without judging and hating ourselves. And there is a possibility of desensitizing or dissolving out that toxic emotional residue. And we can still stay present. We don't see, I get confused, Sue, that sometimes it sounds like when people teach about being present, like it erases all your memories, or it erases all the future. Like,
yeah, let's go back there.
Yeah.
Let's go back there, and let's also talk about, the angels want to underscore something that you said that's so powerful, which is that Alejandra's experience of that moment was very different from yours. So, you know, we punish ourselves or torture ourselves or should on ourselves about things that we did or said that we think might have been traumatic for the other person, or that we just feel we're bad or wrong in some way. We shame ourselves, we guilt ourselves, we should on ourselves. And Alejandra very lovingly reminded you that nothing went wrong. Like, it was fine for her. So the angels really want to jump up and down and underscore that all the times that we are punishing ourselves and torturing ourselves or second guessing ourselves about what we said and did. It really serves us to remember that everybody else is experiencing things through their own reality. Everybody lives in a different reality. Mm-hmm. And so the way you might have reacted to it if you had been on the receiving end of what you did is probably quite different from the way anybody else on the planet will react to it.
Yeah.
And you can't control that anyway, as much as we would love to. So they want to pull some of that, that second guessing, shaming ourselves, pulling a lot of that programming and entrainment out of our space. Let's uncreate, delete, dissolve, and dissipate all of that patterning and programming, allowing you more and more to look back on moments of the past, whether it was the conversation over dinner last night or something you did 20 years ago, without that critical eye, but with curiosity, with grace, with self-love and self-compassion. Anything in the way of that, let's uncreate, delete, dissolve, and dissipate all of those programs and lies, creating more space for self-love. So, coming back to your question about how can I be present and still be aware of the past and the future? And that's really what it is. It's a gentle awareness, right? So I show up here. I'm not. One of the things that a lot of people in spirituality try to do is sort of return to that state of non-physical, to try to rise above the physicality and be ascended right here. And that's kind of missing the point. That's not what we were intended to do here. We were intended to experience physicality. And part of physicality includes this sort of experience of linear time and having a coherent experience in this lifetime. So that means waking up in the morning and remembering who I am and remembering where I am and remembering what I'm going to do that day, right? As opposed to waking up and needing, like that movie, 51st Dates, where I need to watch the video to remember where I am in my life. Most of us have a level of continuity, and that is intentional because there are things that we're here to do and experience and be. So being fully present doesn't mean disconnecting from the continuity of our life, but it does mean being able to engage in the moment and in this moment and the next moment with our focus on what is right here, right now. And sometimes we are meant to vision what's possible, right? That is incredibly powerful. And we're often gifted with visions from the angels and the divine of what's possible. Sometimes a big picture image that we can live into, and sometimes a next step or two that we can take. So we're always being guided forward. It just happens in the now. So when we receive that vision of a future that's possible, not to get too deep into the metaphysics, but when we receive that vision of a future that is one of the possible futures, we're bringing that energy into the now. We're amplifying that possibility in the now. And so that's one of the reasons that they deliver that to us, so that we can begin to flow our love and energy toward that desired possibility. And we're invited to do that very gently, very softly, because the minute we start to grab onto it, with that white knuckle death grip, we squeeze the life out of it, and it can no longer evolve in the way that the divine feminine and divine masculine co-create. So we're being invited right now to learn how to live in the harmony of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And so that's partly what your questions are about, because the divine feminine is the field of infinite possibilities. And as she flows through and we each express our own expression of the divine masculine sees what she is expressing and begins to build the sacred container for it. And then she expresses, and then the divine masculine begins to build the sacred container for it. And so that's part of the new way of being present and co-creating the future, even though the future really happens in the present. So it's a little bit mind-bendy, but does that make sense?
Yes. And because it just always felt disconcerting to me that like I was expected to let go of the past, and all in the name of being in the future, or almost deny the past. And it kind of made me hang on to it even more. But I am getting a greater understanding of that gentle awareness that I am not that person, and you are not that person, and I can hold gently and enjoy the memories of. It's kind of like, I just keep thinking about a movie. It's like a movie I saw. I don't live in that movie. I saw that movie, and I don't play out that movie right here, right now. It was a movie I saw in the past, and just being able to, I don't know, have that clarity about what does it mean to be present, and what does it mean to be peaceful. And when I'm not feeling those things, yeah, it very much is, I'm living in that movie that I saw, 4 months ago or whatever.
And having that gentle awareness of the past without torturing ourselves with it gives us all of the opportunities to use the skills we picked up along the way, be reminded by the angels. So for example, if you had an interaction with somebody where they cheated you out of some money, let's say, for simplification. If you're having a conversation with somebody now that you might be doing business with, that might be doing some work for you, something like that, a vendor or a financial advisor you might work with, something like that. If the angels pop an awareness of that other person from the past who cheated you into your awareness in the middle of that conversation, you know that is your divine guidance saying, this would look like that. It's a no thank you. So that's one of the other ways that memories really serve us. They'll pop a memory in that they know has certain information attached to it when you need that information. And so it's like a shorthand in a way.
Yeah.
It's an easy way for them to communicate with us.
That's a beautiful example. Yeah. And so really appreciating the random thoughts that because they seem so random. Like when we were doing our live stream on Monday, like I'm thinking of Norman Bates and, the whole psycho shower scene and stuff. And I'm like, that is so random, Dolores. Like, where is that coming from? But you and the angels really did pull that in, that was just representative of something that we are taught, that you're psycho if you are communicating with the non-physical. And being able to clear that out of my space, it makes me laugh that I'm thinking of Norman Bates. I'm like, man, that was such a weird movie. And I'm like, yeah, that's it identified with me. So can we bring this back around to the beginning? Is there, I don't know, a blessing that we can invoke on that, the neighbor family that was involved in this incident? And I have just some special tenderness because their baby is due in November, and I don't know if he's arrived yet. And so she was pregnant when this whole event happened, and I just have special tenderness to that. And so, is there like, what can we do to gift that family just such a special blessing of love and a return to peace and safety in their existence?
What a beautiful question. So the first thing we can do is we can create this sacred container we've got here to hold the energy of love and peace and joy and sanctuary in their home. And we can ask the angels to go in and clear the space to whatever degree they're ready. We can't impose this on them, but we can create this as a possibility for them. to clear their space of trauma, to clear the energetic residue of that evening, to clear the mom's physical body of that trauma and the dad's physical body and the baby's. We know that in utero trauma is a very real thing. So the angels are, to whatever degree they are willing and ready to receive, going in and resetting their nervous systems and healing any stuck trauma, moving any stuck energy out of their space, and creating sacred energy within their home, restoring the sanctity of their home, and restoring the sense of safety, security, peace within the home. To whatever degree they're ready, the angels are restoring harmony within and among them. So within each one individually and between mom and dad, between mom and baby, between dad and baby, so that there is no sense of blame, shame, guilt, allowing this experience to shed its emotional charge. To whatever degree they're ready, the angels are pulling these memories up into the angel cloud and allowing their spaces to be clear of the physical density and heaviness and toxicity of any of these memories. And allowing them to be very present to the unconditional love that you have for them and the memories of when you've connected with them and how loving and tender that has been and how supportive, mutually supportive that has been. Allowing them to feel the presence of the angels and allowing them to feel forgiveness isn't, it's not a rich enough and strong enough word. Acceptance, allowance, peace with the way it unfolded. Allowing them to feel absolution is the word the angels keep saying, so I'll say it out loud. Absolution. Allowing them to be completely cleansed by the divine. And extending the same to everyone who is present with us now or later, watching the video. To Delores, to me. The angels are allowing you and encouraging you to tune into this energy, this sacred container of energy we've created, where home feels safe and secure and like sanctity and sanctuary, where it feels peaceful, where you choose peace, and it feels energizing and enlivening, where you choose that, where you are able to choose and infuse each space within your home with whatever energy you prefer in that moment. It's never stuck, it's never immutable. So your bedroom can feel energizing and enlivening in the morning when you get up, and it can feel peaceful and soothing and comforting at night when you crawl into bed, or whatever energies you choose. The angels are always, always encouraging us to choose the energy that we bring to a moment, that we bring to a space, that we bring to an activity. It's something that we talked about recently in one of the angel cards about be, then do. That is what we call intentional living, where you choose the energy, space, and consciousness, and then take it. Even when that action feels a bit like a non-action, like falling asleep. And that is one of the most powerful forms of presence, being fully at choice. Allowing the angels to ease the path for you, ease the journey for you, roll out the red carpet in front of you, open doors, make the phone ring, find the perfect opportunities, send you those emails that have magnificent invitations. Create a life that surprises and delights you. That's something the angels so love to do. So Delores specifically coming full circle here, removing memories that no longer serve you from reading the police report, allowing you to hold that document very gently, with gentle awareness, allowing the angels to show you whatever is in service for you to be aware of in any particular moment, and allowing the angels to hold the rest of those memories, all of those memories, up in the angel cloud until there's a moment when it serves you to be aware of something. So literally healing and removing anything from your system that does not serve you. And extending this same experience to Alejandra when she receives the police report. In fact, she may not even feel any need to look at it. And really blessing this experience for bringing the two of you together and gifting you with the experience of seeing how different your response to the event was from other members of the family and friends. Super valuable. How are you feeling, beautiful?
Very good. And may this experience bring that little sweet family together in even a deeper connection than what it may have been otherwise. So the blessing that I feel in my relationship and my walk with my daughter, may they have something that is similar to serve them, to usher them down the path with a greater and deeper love and connection. And that may help them. And they may not even recognize any obstacles that come because of the love and connection of having gone through this together. So may it just be turned to love for them.
Beautiful. Yeah. So beautiful. That feels like a perfect place to conclude today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all for being with us.
Yeah,
Much
bye
love.
everybody.